Hello, Angela, and hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Luminar Coffee Break. I'm Benelli.
Hello. I'm Angela. Good to
And
see everybody starting to log in. We've got a few people trickling in, a few familiar names, some not so familiar names. So we're glad to see everybody here today.
Awesome. And you want to explain to them about questions, and do they have any questions?
Yeah. So this is our New Artist Friday webinar, and it's designed to answer your frequently asked questions about getting started with Luminar AI and photo editing in general. So if you have questions as we go along, pop them into the chat. We'll do our best to get those answered during today's session. Yeah, pretty straightforward. Use that chat pod, use the Q&A pod. We're here to help.
Great. And if you have a long question, feel free to raise your hand, and then we'll unmute your mic and you can ask it. Or if you ask a question, you type it, we answer it. If you're not quite sure that you understand what we said, by all means, ask a follow-up question. So just remember, we're here today to make sure that especially new users really understands how to use Luminar AI. All
exactly.
Right?
We're here to make you guys successful in your photo editing journey.
All right, here we go.
All right, let's kick us off, Benelli.
I wonder how many new people are here today.
Well, I think we have a poll for that. Let me go ahead and pull up our poll and launch that. And this is going to ask you your experience with Luminar AI. How much experience do you have? And let us know. So go ahead and answer that poll. Getting a few answers trickling in there. Awesome. A couple of longtime users. You guys that are marking yourself as longtime users, we rely on you guys to help us answer questions in the chat and on Insiders. So if you see somebody having a problem and you know the answer, please don't hesitate to help them. That's always really nice to see everybody helping each other. And we actually have someone here who's just using the trial version as well. So awesome. Welcome, everybody. All right, let me go ahead and end this poll, share the results. So you guys can take a look here and see what's going on. Looks like most everybody here has had Luminar AI for a little while, but still learning. So, you know, photography, photo editing, constant learning, constant education. I learn something new almost every day too. So you guys are in good company. All right.
You notice Robert had a really good question to start out with.
All right.
You put it in chat. If you could put it in the next time, put it in the question and answers. But his question is great. This is exactly what you and I were talking about the conference you and I are going to ClickCon coming up in August. He said, what's the best way to create a library within Luminar or transfer it to another computer, and then using his Lightroom library. So that's a great topic. I'll get through some of that today, but that's an entire class on itself. And Angela and I were talking about that at ClickCon, teaching people how to organize and edit and save their images. So
yeah, kind of the short answer I'd give Robert there is you can point your Luminar library and your Lightroom library to the same folders of images, but just know that any edits you make in Luminar that are just stored in the catalog that you haven't exported won't be showing in your Lightroom catalog, and vice versa. Anything you do in your Lightroom catalog that you haven't exported will not show in your Luminar catalog, but they can both look at the same folder of raw files or JPEGs or whatever.
All right. Well, let's jump right in. Let me share my screen, Angela.
Excellent.
And
let me make sure you can. There you go.
There we go. All right.
Now I'm seeing both of us side by side right now. There we go.
Yep. All right. Perfect. So you're able to see your Friday?
I am.
Perfect. All right. So New User Friday, a fast track to understanding Luminar. Now, what you're going to learn today is how to install and activate Luminar AI, opening images, Luminar AI, quick edits with templates, custom edits using some of the tools, batch processing, using Luminar AI as a plugin for whether it's for Lightroom or for Photoshop, and then of course exporting for social media or for email. Now, installing and activating Luminar AI, some of you have heard this over and over again. The more we keep saying it, the more it's going to start to sink in. It's real simple. The concept is, as long as you sign in, or if you have a Skylum account, you just sign in right down in here, and once you sign into it, you'll see your Luminar AI software along with serial numbers and stuff, and now you know you're ready to install the program. If you don't have a new account, or you don't have an account, here's where you can sign up for one. Now you could use Facebook, Google, Microsoft for Apple, or just sign up with your email address. The number one issue people run into is you got to use the same email address you used when you purchased Luminar. So if you use a different email address, then it doesn't know that you're the owner of that particular license. So make sure you use your email address that you purchased Luminar AI with. All right. And then you sign in, and we're right from here, we're ready to go. All right, so let's dive into opening an image. I'm going to jump over to my Luminar. Give me one moment. Let me close out of this. I was teaching people, Angela, how I used that shot of the still images that we did of the flowers and put one of the poems on it. That was that was yesterday's episode. All right, so here we are. How to open up images inside Luminar. There are several different ways. Now we can come over here to the plus icon. We can add a folder of images, or we can add a single image here. We can come over here to the folders section, click the plus icon here, and add a folder of images from there, or from Luminar, File, and from here, we can add a folder with images, all right? But what I want to do with these, I want to do something a little bit different. We're going to start with a brand new catalog. So here's a new catalog, and this will answer Robert's question, where can I put that catalog? Well, it defaults in the pictures folder, but personally, I like to create my own Luminar AI catalog on my local drive. You can put it in your documents folder, or you can put it on your local drive. That's entirely up to you. I'm using Windows. If you're using Mac OS, you'll use Finder to do this. Well, right here, I want to create a blank catalog. I already have one here. I'm just going to delete this one. There we go. So I'm going to create a blank catalog. And this is my first catalog. When I open it up, boom, nothing is in it. It's a brand new catalog. Now we can start adding folder of images, all right? Like we said, the easiest way to do it is just to come over here, click the plus icon, and I'm going to add a folder of images. Now, I like to keep my images in one location. So right here, under photography, right here, my C drive, under photography, I have all of my images here. Now, Angela, when you get done doing a shoot and you put your memory card in the machine, let's say you shot, I don't know, 64 gigs of images. How long does it usually take to import or ingest into your computer?
Over to the computer, maybe 10 minutes, if that. Okay,
so if that's one shoot, imagine all the shoots you've done your entire life, trying to add all those shoots at the exact same time into Luminar is going to take a long time. So, and this is one thing, Angela, it's so funny. I heard you say this, and I like the word, the terminology. You have a choice. You could create project-based catalogs for Luminar, or just have one huge catalog. That's up to you. A huge catalog, obviously, there's a lot of risk involved with that. Project-based ones, again, they're smaller catalogs, and you can quickly put the images in there. If you decide that you want one catalog, then yes, under your photography folder, not pictures folder, under the folder you have all your images in, click on that, and if I hit select, everything I've done will be in that in my new Luminar catalog. If you want to do project-based catalogs, let's do, you know what? I'll do flowers. So if I want to do a project-based catalog, I can just click on one folder and select that folder, and now just that folder and subfolders are now installed, or now are inside Luminar. Now, one thing to understand, you're not importing images into Luminar. You're importing where those images are stored on your hard drive. So what Luminar does is look at that as a database. It's it's going to store or it's going to keep track of the file location of where this particular image is on your hard drive. It's going to store any of the edits that you've made. If I decided to hit the heart icon as one of my favorites, it stores that. If I decide to, let's go over here. If I decide to reject it or unmark it, it keeps all of that in a nice database for you. And it's small. So it's not, so when we say we're importing images, we're not bringing them into Luminar, we're importing them into your computer. All right? So, excuse me, that's how we grab a folder that you already have on your computer and you bring it in. Now, in Angela's case, she gets done with a photo shoot. Well, if she wants to, instead of add a folder, she wants to import, let's say, oh, right here, perfect. If you want to import from a memory card, here's one of the issues you're going to run into. If I come over here and I select this and say select folder, well, it's going to do the exact same thing it did with the flowers. Well, that means that it's pointing to my removable SD card. Well, that's not what I want. What I'd rather have is create a folder inside my folders here. So I'm going to click the plus icon again, and under photography, I'm going to create a new folder. And let's say this new folder is Butterfly Garden. A Butterfly Garden World. So that was a place I just came back from photographing. Now that I have this here, I could just double click on that, and I'm going to create another folder inside of it, or a subfolder, and now I'm going to give it a date. 2021 07, let's say 06, and I went there with my buddy Bill, and we photographed the butterflies, so I could just put that down as a date, and let's just give myself a brief description, let's say macro. So I focused on macro photography plus butterflies. So now I know exactly right here what's in this folder. And I'm going to select it. And now notice it's blank because I haven't imported any images into that folder yet. So if I right click on it, now import images to this folder. You see the difference? Before, if I came over here, it said an add a folder. Here, if I right click, I want to import those images to this folder. So I'm going to come over to my SD card, and I believe it's under here. Yep. Select, and I have a choice. I'm importing them automatically to that folder. That's great. I can either copy them or move them. If I move them, then it's going to physically remove them from the card and put them here. I like to copy them because I like, just in case something goes wrong in between, I have a backup on the SD card. All right. So Are you the same way, Angela? Do you like copying or moving better from your SD card?
Copy for sure, because the moment you move them, if that's your only copy of those images, something gets corrupted in the transport, then those images are gone. So I like to keep the physical copies on my SD card, and I want to keep those there until not only have they been imported to my computer, but I've had a chance to get them backed up to either my cloud or my external drive.
Exactly.
So that way I have more than one copy before I reformat that card.
Yeah, exactly. And I like to format my card in the camera, not on my computer. Are you
Correct.
the same way?
Me too. Yep.
Good. All right. So we're going to copy the images. And how do I want to organize them? You know, personally, I just like putting it all in one folder. And now I can include any subfolders that this folder right here has. And I click import. And now it's going to import those images into my into that particular folder. Now I don't remember how many I had in there, so I could have a few or I could have hundreds. We'll see what happens.
A few hundred.
I should have looked a little bit closer. And by the way, I'm using a very inexpensive SD card, not on purpose. I picked the wrong one. I'm noticing it takes forever for it to preview on my computer screen or my camera screen and to import. It's taking forever. So
one thing you want to pay. Go ahead.
Again?
I was just going to say what I pay attention to when I buy SD cards is the transfer speed. So different cards have different speeds, and the cheaper they are, the likely they're going to be slow. So try to find one that has the fastest transfer speed that you can afford, that's fits in your budget.
Well, lesson learned. So now, so that right there is one way how I can do that, and we'll give it a couple. We'll let it do its thing. But what I want to show you is not only can you import them that way, but I can still come down to my Windows Explorer, which I already had open over here. So here I am with my Windows Explorer, and if I go to my C drive, you'll notice under photography, and I called it butterfly garden. Yep, here it is. Notice what you see is what you get. So I created that inside Luminar. That folder structure stays and remains over onto this side. Oh, look at that. I can't believe I shot JPEG and RAW. Unbelievable. So that's why it's taking forever. All right. So, and as you can see, it's importing those images very slowly into my computer. So this has nothing to do with Luminar. It's just the speed of my computer and that memory card. So you could, if you wanted to, just drag and drop all of those images into this folder. All right. So that's how we. So that's how we work on opening images and then also importing them into Luminar. All right. Great.
Awesome.
Now, let's see if we have any questions up to that point.
So actually, we do have a couple, and I did answer them. I just typed the answers into the Q&A pod, but we can go over them in case people aren't actually monitoring those questions and answered. One question was on when you purchase Luminar AI, there is an option for how many seats that you purchase. And what that refers to is the number of computers that you want to have that software actively installed on. If all you have is one laptop or one desktop computer, all you need is one seat. If you're using a computer, a desktop computer and a laptop, you might need 2 seats. If your spouse is using it, you might need 3. So that's where you decide how many seats that you want to purchase. It is intended for, regardless of how many seats you purchase, the license is for computers that you will be using in your own home, so computers that you own. Not meant to be shared with friends. Obviously, we can't track that, but that's what the license indicates. So I wanted to make sure we answered that question. And then there was also a question about templates and skies. So once we jump into that section, Vanelli, if you could point out how to load in a sky pack, load in a templates pack, that would be awesome.
Great. All right, now, am I sharing my screen again?
Not yet.
Okay, one moment. Let me pull that up.
And Julia made a comment about the new Z6 II camera. She's using the Extreme Pro CF Express Type B card. They're very expensive, but they're very fast. So
Oh, that's
good
good.
to know.
All right, Angela. There we go. There. Now you have my template up again. Nope,
Yep.
now you have me.
Yep.
There we go.
We just went full screen.
Oh, there we go.
There we go.
There. Now you see it, right?
Yes.
Awesome. All right, great. So now let me jump over here to my Luminar. And what I did was let's see, they're still coming in. I did interrupt it, and I'm hoping I stopped it. Yep, I did. Good, so I interrupted it, and here we are with the new C2 camera. This, of course, was my very, very first shot. If you look over here, it says it, #1. So, of course, you knew it had to be my little girl, Erica. Right, Angela? I've been photographing her for, God, since she was 5 years old. All right, so here's Erica. Now, and we joked about this. Notice 1, 2, yep, 2. So I wanted to make sure that these were the best, absolute perfect shots for the for the new camera. And notice I shot it in JPEG. I meant to shoot it. I meant to shoot it in RAW, but I had the wrong settings. All right. So let's take this image of Erica real quick, and I'm going to click on templates. Now this is where templates are really powerful. It uses artificial intelligence to analyze this image, and it realizes, hey, it's a person in this. It's an actual portrait. So it's going to give me suggestions based on what's in that image. So I love the cinematic photographer ones, and then it also gives me other ones on the marketplace that I can look at. Well, you know what? I haven't converted this to black and white, and you know I've been dying lately. Oh, I like that. Lately, black and white's been my favorite. So here I am, converted it to black and white just with one click. Now I can leave it just like this, and boom, we go on to something else, or I can click on edit, and now I still have complete control over this image. Accent AI, that's going to be your best friend. This one tool look at this, automatically improves color, detail, tone, and depth of an image. If you'd rather, you could jump over to the light tool, and this tool, look at this. This right here gives you precise controls. Typically, especially if you're a new user, you don't really use the light tool as much because that Accent AI does majority work for you. If you want, like I like to come in and sometimes tweak the black points, maybe bump up a little bit of the contrast. All right. Now this is a portrait, so I'm going to come down to the portrait tools, and here's face. Since she's wearing glasses, I can't see her eyes, but what's really cool, look at this. It knows where her face is, and it brings out, or it adds light towards her face. Her eyes, she's wearing glasses, so I can't do anything there. And her mouth, I can still, look at this, increase it, increase the redness, or just make the mouth look a little bit better. And skin, one click, and a lot of the blemishes will be removed. Here is just discoloration, so I'll show you different ways later how we can get rid of that. And I can work on smoothing the skin. So, but the point I'm getting at is because this template is a portrait template, it already gave me those tools that I could use to make this image look its best. All right? And let me get back to here. Do we have any questions on templates?
The only question we had was how to add a new template pack.
Good. And I was just about to ask you that if we had that. All right. So let me go back here. So let's say I like this template. These are all the purchase ones that I have. If I want to add a new template pack, there's a couple ways of doing that. You know, I can click on purchase and then get more templates here. Or let's say I came up for this folder or for this photo, I want to take the suggestion that they recommended. Well, if I click on it, it's going to shoot me over to our Skyla Marketplace. And on the Marketplace, here, I can download signature templates and any of the other assets that we have. Signature templates are the signature ones. They cost a little bit more than the regular templates. Some of the regular templates are actually free. So if I click on templates here, you can look over on the side for some of the free ones that we have, like right here, the Halloween Unmasked. But make sure you look here to see what that template was created for, which program. So in this case here, these are Luminar 3. So I can look down. I thought Rich Harrington had some really cool ones. Like right here, this is designed for Luminar AI.
So we've got a good question in the Q&A from John. He wants to know what the difference is between a template and a LUT.
Perfect. Okay, so a template is a collection of all these tools that to create this look that we have with Erica right here. If I click on edit, any of these tools that have a dot next to them means that that tool was used to create this image. All right, so enhance, details, black and white, light. So those are just a few of them in the essential tools. If you come down here to portrait, use some of the portrait tools, and I miss creative tools, dramatic. So templates will use all those tools to create this. A LUT is under mood, and that's called a lookup table. So LUT stands for lookup table, and it adds a mood to the image. So think of LUT as just another one of the tools. Now I can add a LUT to this image, and notice I was making, oh, I like that right there. Look at the change. Even though it's a colored LUT, I can still use it with a black and white image, and now it's part of the template. So a LUT, like I said, is a lookup table, and it changes the colors or does color grading to the image. It's another tool. Once I have this the way I like it, I can come down here and click save. Once I hit save, if I come back to templates, under my templates, I see right where it is, Soulful Edit. Well, I could rename that. And let's put that Soulful, because that was the base one I used, version 2. Let's say version 2. Now, if I go to the next image, in fact, if I click on this image here, notice the Skyline blue box around it. Using the shift key, I can select, let's say, all the way to this image here. So now all of these images are selected. That's the host image. If I right click on it, now from here, I can go under adjustments, and I can synchronize the adjustments, meaning whatever adjustments I applied to this image will now be applied to those images here. I'm going to right click, adjustments, revert to the original. So now I'm back to my original. So if I want to apply the template, I'll click on Erica again. And we've seen this earlier. Template. I'm going to apply that, the Soulful one we just did. And now I'm back here. So that was one way. Another way is I can just right click, adjustments, copy. Once I copy it, I'll use the control key this time. So Command or Control, click individual images here. The shift one, whichever one you clicked, it starts here. If I ended here, it ends there. With the Command or Control key, I'm able to select wherever I want. Now, once I did all this, I can just right click and the adjustments, type paste. And now it's going to take all the changes I made to this image and apply them to all the images that I had selected. All right. So that's going to tie into batch processing with templates.
Awesome. Can we go back a moment? The original question was how to load a template collection. And I think we kind of glossed over that. So
yes, I did.
From the file menu, and then the two places that you can click add over in the templates tab.
Yeah, so I apologize. Yes, so you're gonna be so excited with that. So yeah, so here we are. We came over to templates. I don't know how I got off track on that one. That was like a huge detour. You were supposed to like honk the horn or something, Angela.
Well, you were showing good things, but Stephen actually was like, "Hey, we need to redirect." So
thank you. So here I'm going to get more templates. Now that's what it was. So let's say I purchased this one, I download it, boom, now it's on my hard drive. All right. So I download it, it's on my hard drive. Great. Now let me show you where I store it. So you would have to look in your downloads folder. So what I like to do is this. We're going to come over here, file, and we're going to add a new Luminar AI template collection. So what I like to do is go back to that folder where all my images are. So here we are, photography. I double click on it, and I created a folder called, or a subfolder called _assets. Now, in this folder, there's another folder called templates. So you would go to your downloads folder, grab the template that you just downloaded, and then just create another folder over here and drag and drop it. So now these are the different templates that I've downloaded, and now I have them in this spot. Now I don't need to keep them there, but I like it because if I decide for whatever reason, let's say my hard drive crashes or whatever, and I have to reinstall Luminar again, well, I could take this from my backup disk, and instead of going back out to the website to find out, oh great, which templates did I purchase, I have all of them in one spot. So I could just double click, let's say, on this one here, and then click open. And I already have it installed, so I don't want to reinstall another one. I hit open, and then it's going to appear here in my purchase templates.
And so you got to that from the file menu, but up at the top of that particular templates pane, up at the top right corner, there's an add button that does the exact same thing. And if you click back to the main templates panel, there's an add button there as well.
Yep, right here. So there's several ways to add it. And again, you have to decide which is the easiest, which is the quickest. So if we were here right now like this, you could come over here to File and add it right here. Or like Angela just said, you're in the template panel, you might as well just click on the Add button here, and then again, navigate to your photography, asset folder, templates, and then load it from here.
Correct.
All right.
And just to kind of reiterate, all three of those methods do the exact same thing. It's up to you which one you want to use.
Exactly. All right. So now we're on to using Luminar AI tools. All right. So for landscape photographers, what's really cool, some of the AI tools are Sky AI with reflection. So you can see a reflection into the water, atmospheric AI, structure AI, Sky AI. We have tools that increases the color, improves contrast, and that mood, which we talk about the LUTs, is a game changer. That's what you see in Hollywood. In fact, Angela, you were watching what, Breaking Bad?
Yes.
Last night, and the first thing you said was what to your husband?
That they use a lot of LUTs. As you're going through and watching that series, you can see those color changes, those different tonal changes, and that's how they do that in movies. That's where LUTs started being used, and it's been brought over into still photography, but it changes that look and feel and mood of an image or of a video, and it's very distinctive in certain shows and certain movies.
And I told you I went to see Black Widow last night, and my godchildren's father, he was right next to me, and I said, "Oh my God!" I go, "Look at the LUTs they used and the color grading." He goes, "Are you serious? Just enjoy the movie."
We're such
but
nerds.
It's cool because then you get inspired by that stuff, and it's really cool. Is that's how you're able to also, let's say if you went surfing on the net and you found that particular image, you could literally copy that color style and make it your own LUTs. And that's for a totally separate topic. All right. So let's go on to the next. Portraits, my favorite. So we have portrait tools that shapes the body, improves the eye, makes the eyes just jump and more enhanced. It helps with the face, where it removes blemishes, smooth skin, and it removes the wrinkles. Skin AI, and that's Skin AI. For the face, it's your eyes, your lips, even your eyebrows. And these are tools that we normally would have to do on our own. That's just tedious. Having them in a tool format like this, it's just a matter of clicking a button and adjusting the slider. Accent AI, I mentioned that's going to be your best friend. In fact, what did you call it? Like auto tone?
It's basically, a lot of other programs have a button to automatically tone or automatically correct an image. We have a slider, so you can adjust how much of that auto goes on there. But that's essentially what Accent AI does. Is it's your auto tone, and it does such a great job, but you can decide how much of that you want. Whereas if it's just a button, you get one option and then you have to go fiddle with sliders. This one, you just have one slider and you're done.
Exactly. All right. And by the way, did you see Steven's comment? Thank you, Steven.
The one about your driving or thanking us for clearing up templates.
Exactly. So, well, Steve, if I'm not mistaken, he's in Melbourne too. So my driving is famous. All right, so here we are.
Or infamous.
With the batch processing. And I showed you how quick that was to do that batch processing on all the images. And just to let you know in the beginning, I thought, if I just click on all these images here and then just click on a template, it would apply them. That's not the way it's done. So have the template applied to one image already, and then use that concept I showed you. Either right click, adjustment, copy, then paste, or once you have one selected and you select the other ones, right click, adjustment, synchronize. So that's entirely up to you. What's the difference? One way is one step here. If I were to copy and paste, deselect, I would have to come over here, right click, adjustment, copy, right click, adjustment, paste. Either way, whatever you feel is quicker, that's what you'll do. All right?
Now, one thing I'd like to point out with, batch processing is you're not locked into the way that image looks once you've copied those adjustments. You can always go over to the edit tab and tweak it a little bit. If you go, okay, that template applied well to all but one of them, but this one maybe is a little bit too dark, we can brighten that up a little bit and make those adjustments. You're not locked in just because you clicked the template and synchronized it.
Exactly. And in the case here, let's say the dramatic tool. Well, I don't want the dramatic tool on her face. Mm-hmm. Around the image, I can get rid of it here. And we've talked about this before, Angela, which is pretty cool. Down here is the master slider. Now, if you can't see this, where my mouse pointer is, move your zoom tool. So your zoom menu bar may be blocking this, but down here you'll see Soulful edited. If I click on it, look at this. I could drag it to the left, and here means it's everything we just applied, nothing is applied to this image. So here's 0, here's 100. You can come in, if I wanted that muted color effect with the black and white, I can just dial that back down, and look at this. Now it's giving me that soft, muted color look, I like to see in my images. There we go. All right. Now, Luminar is a plugin for Lightroom or for Luminar. Now, I'm sorry, for Lightroom or for Photoshop. I'm going to do this real quick. In fact, let me show you a simple way. Here it is. So your workflow with Luminar AI, Lightroom Classic, Photoshop, or Photos for Mac. So let's say we'll pick another image. Let's do. Oh, this is where she became the photographer. So in the middle of Five Guys, Angela, she took my camera and started imitating Vanelli. She said.
Nice.
So yeah, you should have heard her. That's it, baby. Look, what she say? So that's it. Look at me, look at me. And then she started joking. Beautiful, darling, beautiful. And I'm like, what the heck? I never say that. So watch this. Right click, show in Explorer or show in Finder. And once it comes up, I think it's on the other screen. Yeah, sure enough. Here it is. So I have it here. So I right clicked and I wanted to locate. Well, here it is. Now I could right click from here and say, open with Photoshop. Oh, here's Photoshop Elements. Where's my Photoshop? Ah, I know what it is. Let me do it this way. Before I go any further, guess what, Angela? What did you and I both receive? The beta version, correct?
Ah, yes.
So I never installed right here. I have to uninstall this and then reinstall it because the beta version is different from.
So there is a question here. Amber's asking
here.
if we can show how to install a folder of new skies as well. So I did link in the
how to organize those.
Yeah, so I did link to those in another Q&A question. I'm going to grab that link once more, Amber. I'm going to put that in there for you, but we'll also do our best to show you that as well.
Gotcha. Now, Angela, one thing I want to show everyone, I'm going to shut this down again. If you're a Windows user, here's a little catch. Right click on the AI logo and where it says Luminar AI, right click on that again. See, where is it? I'm sorry.
Are you trying to run as administrator?
Yeah, I'm trying to find where I put the administrator.
Are you running under the wrong login?
I probably am. Right click. Properties.
Well, I think we can kind of move on from the Photoshop and Lightroom stuff because I mean those are kind of episodes in and of themselves, and we do talk about those in our other coffee break episodes from time to time. So if you have specific questions about using Luminar AI as a plugin with Lightroom, Photoshop, or Photos for Mac OS, let us know. You can also use Luminar AI as a plugin for Photoshop Elements. It's not a published functionality, but there is a workaround. So if you need those instructions, you can email me at angela@skylum.com. I'd be happy to send those to you.
Good. Thank you for the save there, Angela.
You're welcome.
So here we are.
Teamwork.
All right, so here we are here. Let me do skies. So they want to include a sky pack. So what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to open up, let's say, the regular coffee break episode. And let me do, let's see, we have any, actually, you know what? Down here I will. Let me bring that down. Sky replacements. All right, good. We'll do this one right up.
Stephen did have another question about he's not seeing the Luminar AI plugin showing in the filters menu in Photoshop. What I would recommend is reaching out to support@skylum.com if you're having that issue and ask them for the manual plugin installation instructions and they'll get you up and running.
So, all right, so here we are with one of our, I did it again, Angela.
What did you do?
I exited out of the program. So I'm so sorry.
The joys of live broadcasting, folks.
Sorry about that. So we have the full version, of course, the Luminar AI, and we have the beta version. And every so often, if we open up the same catalog with the beta versus a regular one, they don't play nice together. So we have to be very careful. And that was one of the images that I used so much that was a problem. So let me use this one instead. There we go. All right. So we're going to come over here to edit. And we'll come to the creative skies. Let's give it a second.
While that's loading, I just want to encourage everyone, if you have questions, pop them into the Q&A pod. I am monitoring the chat as well. So this is your opportunity to talk to us and make sure that if you have something that you're struggling with, to let us know. So. All
right. Now, Angela, just to be on the safe side, the exact question was how to load a sky pack.
Let me go scroll back up here. Show how to add a folder of new skies.
Perfect. Thank you. All right. So I don't want to go down that path.
No rabbit holes.
Yeah, Stephen, I want to stay on the road this time. All right. So from here, you could download more skies wherever, or let's just work on that sky pack. Like we were talking about loading a folder of skies. Well, if I click on the drop-down menu, custom right here are the ones that you've added. Okay, so if I were to click, we'll do a single one first. If I click the plus icon, well, where do I have my skies located? Well, if I come back over here to that photography folder that I mentioned, and I made an assets folder, I added a sky subfolder. So if you were to download either from the Luminar Marketplace or somewhere on the internet, or even your own skies, you would put them, and like I said, my suggestion is the underscore assets folder. Now I know exactly where they are. So I'm going to come in here. I like the California sunset. Let's grab this one and open. Now that's my custom sky that I just added, and in a moment it'll appear on the image. Well, that's great if I'm dealing with a single image, but look at that. But if we want to include, so I'm going to right click on this again here, and I'm going to put down here, show custom skies. Well, now this is the folder, and for Windows users, look where it's stored. App, data, roaming, Luminar AI, data, skies, custom. So here is where those skies are located. Well, I can easily, right from here, I'm going to open up another file explorer. And you guessed it, we're going to go right to the C drive, photography, assets, and skies. Good. All right, so I did the California one, right? Oh, look, there's Angela's sky. No, let me grab another one.
You grab those night skies.
Yeah, okay, all right, good. All right, let's do night skies. Now, I want to grab all of these night skies. Now, you have to be careful. What is it, 50?
Well, they recommend keeping 50 or fewer skies in that custom skies folder. And that really applies mostly to those who are running lower powered machines. If you have a super powered machine, you can put more than 50 in there. I have way more than 50 in my custom folder. But if you start experiencing lags and slowdown, that could be the culprit. You might want to move some of them back out of that folder to another location and then grab them one at a time as needed.
Exactly. So I'm going to copy this entire folder. All right. Now I'm going to come back to my custom folder right here, right click, and I'm going to paste it. Now notice this is one of the newest features. We're able to organize our custom skies in their own folders. So instead of all of them being displayed in one shot, as soon as it's done, we'll be able to go into Luminar and actually see night skies, Manelli sunrises, sunsets from there. So if I click the drop-down menu, there they are, night skies right there. I mean, to me, that is so cool that they've added that in there. Now, for this particular image, I mean, a night sky, it's going to look a little strange because this was shot during the day. You could do it, but it's not recommended.
Yeah, you see how the light is hitting her. She's
Yeah.
obviously being lit, and there's light wrapping around the back side of her from that bright sky. So you pop in a dark sky, and it is going to look odd. I actually came across a question about that in our community forums or support forums yesterday. Somebody had added a really dark sky to an obvious daylight photo, and there was a halo, and he was having trouble getting rid of it. And that's one of the things, if you add something where the light doesn't match or the direction of the light, you're going to have a hard time getting it to look realistic. There's a few things you can set to minimize that, but still, matching the quality of the light is the biggest thing.
Exactly. So that's how we add them and organize them. So once again, it's over here. Here, show your custom skies. And right from here, this is where you add either subfolders, or you can just drag and drop your skies all in one spot or in one location here, and now you're there. My suggestion is make sure these are copies. Don't drag your entire sky collection here and say, oh great, I'll just bring them over to this location because I want to save disk space. Well, if you accidentally delete one of them here, you lose it forever. If I have this copy, which I do, in like that assets folder that I mentioned, well, no matter what happens to the other folder inside Luminar, I always have the originals right here, and I don't have to worry about losing them. All right?
Excellent.
Exporting. I'll make this real quick. So Angela looks at this. She loves it. All right, Vanelli, export that. Let's put it on Facebook. Well, if I click export, I can either save it to the disk, mail it to somebody, put it up on SmugMug or 500px. Well, I'm going to save it to my disk. And Angela, you brought up a good point. You said, and what was that article? Was it, who was it written by?
It was Hootsuite, I believe.
Hootsuite, that's it. Hootsuite. And Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all of them are constantly changing their algorithms. So it's kind of a pain in the neck to keep up. But what did you say a good size was? 1,200?
Well, I always have to go double check because they're all different and because they often change. Just do a quick web search for best social media sizes, and there's going to be a handful of articles. I think Sprout Social does one, Hootsuite, a handful of these other blogs, and they keep those articles updated. Or you can go into the FAQs for that particular platform to find out what their recommended sizes are. Perfect. And that's what I find gives you the best results. If you upload a full-size image, let's say that 6,720 pixel image to Facebook, Facebook is going to automatically downsize that. And when it doesn't do it kindly. It has the potential to make your image have artifacts, halos, all sorts of things that can make it look really awful.
Horrible.
So you want to make sure your image looks its best online, whether you're just sharing it for fun or whether you're sharing it to try to gain clients. Either way, you want your images to look good. So by checking with those companies to see what their recommendations are, you're going to get the best possible result.
All right. So let's just say 1,200 on the long side, on the long end. Now I can decide where do I want to store that file for it to be exported. If I don't care, if I'm going to get rid of that file afterwards, I created a trash it folder. So, quick send. So I know anything in that folder I could delete is not important to me. All right. Now, if this image were designed, let's say that's Angela up there. And we took a picture of Angela during ClickCon in Chicago doing something pretty cool. Her husband wants it to be this huge mural when he walks into the house. Here is where we have to change this, especially if it's for print. You want to use TIFF because TIFF is a 16-bit depth. It stores more. It's like a raw file. It's not a raw file. It's similar to the raw file where the quality of it is greater than a JPEG. And then check with your print company if they want you to do the sharpening or they'll do it. And typically they'll tell you, leave it as actual size, and they'll deal with the upsizing if they need to. And then color space, I like Adobe RGB. sRGB has the least amount of color space. It was written by Microsoft. That's typically the standard because the websites use them. Print companies figure you don't know what you're doing with color, so just give it to them as sRGB and they'll figure it out for you. I like Adobe RGB. ProPhoto RGB holds the most color space. All right. And 16-bit depth is fine. Resolution, leave it alone. It doesn't make a difference with what you're doing when you export it. So I export this, hand it off to the print company, and if it's too small, they'll take care of it and make it look the way it should. All right.
So one thing I would add to that is much like looking up what the specs are recommended for a social media platform or wherever you're sharing, check with your print lab as to what they want, because some of them do request a JPEG, some will take a TIFF. If they take a TIFF, that's definitely a better route to go, but some won't print that, especially the more consumer print labs if you're just getting small prints for your photo album or your scrapbook. But if you're doing something big through one of the higher end labs, typically they'll accept a TIFF and they'll tell you what color space, everything they want.
Awesome. All right, and I'm going to cancel out of that. And here are some of the resources. We're at the end of the demonstration, the end of the presentation. If you need more resources, Skylum.com. If you have questions on support and it does not work, go to Skylum.com/support. If it's a how-to question, that's where you have us, people in the AI community, which inside the community right down in here. You can ask people, but the number one place to find the answers is right there in the user manual. So the user manual is the key. If you have an issue inside the user manual, not only does it show you how to solve the problem, but a lot of times it'll have videos that you can watch and read along on solving the issue. And of course, Luminar coffee breaks. You can check us here, and you can also find us in your favorite social media channels. All right.
I just want to add with the user guide. Don't forget that you can always find that through the help menu. So if you forget that URL, just go to the help menu inside of Luminar AI, and the user guide is linked right there. Super easy, and it takes you straight to it. It's searchable. You can download a PDF.
Why are we so excited over the next few weeks?
Well, we're working hard to do some updates. And so Vanelli is in charge of getting everything in here. I do a lot of the screenshots to help out with some of that stuff. So this is kind of our baby. And if you have questions or something is unclear in the user guide, we are the people to let know. And we can
so
get that fixed.
update 4 is coming out real soon.
Yep.
Someone asked me how soon. I said it's a stone's throw away. And of course, Russ had to be a wise guy and say, well, how far can you throw a stone? So it's coming up real soon. So you'll see update, like what's new in update 4. And then all of the questions, and anything in here, sky replacement. Oh, here it is. You know, I can look on sky replacement and then boom, here it is. And it actually shows me how I can create my own skies and what's needed. If I want to work on the sky tool, it gives me all what each one of the sliders represent and information on those sliders. And look at here again, you have a lot of videos that'll help make sure you learn what each of the tools are doing.
Yep.
All right.
All right. Well, I don't see any other open questions in the Q&A or the chat. So I think that pretty much sums it up for the rest of the session. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. I hope it was helpful. You got something out of it. I want to wish you a wonderful weekend, and we'll be back for our regular coffee break on Monday.
Awesome. Well, hey, thanks again, Angela, and we'll see you at the next coffee break.
Bye, everyone.